the sons of Dhritarashtra. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjun then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here.
There Arjuna could see, within the midst of the armies of both parties, his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers in law and well wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning.
Scrolling up.
Hare Krishna. I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only cause of misfortune. O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Hare Krishna.
O Govinda, of what avail to us our kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandson, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange of the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion.
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed, dwell always in hell.
Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kingsmen. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield.
Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So we finished one chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What do you say about that?
Wonderful.
Jai.
Wonderful.
Very good. And then I noticed that we have Ishwari Radha also who joined us, right? While we were away. So you want to
Yes.
read?
Haribol, Hare
Hari
Krishna,
Bol.
Dharma
Good to see you. Do you want to add to the reading order, Suyash Prabhu, and maybe you can announce reading order for the benefit of Ishwari Radha Mataji while I bring up the verse for today.
Yes, Mataji.
Can you read, Suyash Prabhu, the reading order?
Yes.
Tell
Just a minute.
tell for Ishwari Radha so that we know.
So Suyash, Manasi, Sutapa Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Khyati Mataji, Priti Radhika Mataji, Ishwari Radhika Mataji, and then Shraddha Mataji.
All righty. So who is going now?
Myself,
Mataji,
Mataji.
Okay.
Oh, did Varshana Mataji read?
no, I have to.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Come on. Here we go. Let's get going.
25, Mataji, or
Yes.
26?
25. We didn't do 25 completely, right?
Okay.
So just
Yeah.
do a quick reading. Yeah.
भीष्मद्रोण प्रमुक्ताः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिता उवाच पार्थ पश्येतान् संवेतान् कुरुन्निति.
Very
Hare
good.
Krishna.
Who's going to do the synonyms?
I will do, Mataji.
Okay.
Bhishma, grandfather Bhishma, Drona, the teacher Drona, Pramukhata, in front of, Sarvesham, all, Cha, also, Mahikshitam, chief of the world, Uvacha, said, Partha, O son of Pritha, Pasya, just behold, Etan, all of them, Samvetan, assembled, Kurun, the member of the Kuru dynasty, Iti, thus.
In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here.
Okay. Maybe Ishwari Radha should go. She
Yeah.
didn't read today. Okay.
As the super soul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjuna. The use of the word Rishikesha in this connection indicates that he knew everything, and the word Partha means the son of Pratha or Kunti is also similarly significant in reference to Arjuna. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjuna that because Arjuna was a son of Pratha, the sister of his own father, Vasudev, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjuna. Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Pratha. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking.
Hari Bol. Okay.
Hari
So we didn't do any reflections and any discussions on this. So let's talk about that. So anything that stuck in mind. And we have Garima Mataji who joined us as well. But I don't think she usually reads. Garima, are you in a position to speak? Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, good to have you. So reflection time.
Yes,
Here
Mataji.
Prabhupada says, go ahead, Mataji.
Carry on, please.
Yeah, here Prabhupada says that Krishna never expected Arjuna to say something like this. And he is the controller of Arjuna's senses, right? So if we look at subtly, even Arjuna will never do this. Krishna has controlled his senses so that Bhagavad Gita can come to us. And Krishna also shows the loving relation with Arjuna between friends, that you can joke also and you can say, now see what you wanted to see, right? With
There
that
you go.
command. So that mood of the relations of friendship is really reflective in Prabhupada's purport.
Yes. It's so nice to have a good friend, isn't it?
Yes, definitely, Mataji.
And if it's Krishna, then what to talk about that, right? Mm. Yeah. Go ahead. So I think Varshana wanted to say and Sutapa wanted to say, right?
Yes,
Mataji, Varshana.
Mataji. Yeah. You see, I really like Mataji. Yesterday also I said, he told Arjuna, behold the Kurus. I mean, now you can see what you want to be. I mean, the same thing what Mataji just now said, that, I mean, though he is controlling his senses and still he is telling him to see.
Yes, and
So,
then we did an exercise yesterday of seeing, right? We
seeing,
went through the
right.
whole chapter to see, right? We did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, behold. Yeah. There's something musical about the word behold, isn't it?
Behold,
Yes.
Ashyata.
Okay, behold means like, what are you behold? What do you hold when you behold? Hmm?
The
Mataji,
sight.
why there is a question mark? Behold the Kurus means there is a question mark, right?
Say that again.
Means behold the Kurus means there is a question mark.
No.
Then
Yes,
there is a yes, Mataji.
The purport, Mataji.
A purport.
Interpret, yeah.
Yeah. No. So that's not a question to Arjuna. The question that Prabhupada is asking is that what did Krishna mean? So that is the question. What did Krishna
Okay.
mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus?
Okay, Mataji.
Right? Behold the Kurus by itself is not a question.
Okay, did
And then he
Arjuna want to
answers that,
stop
right?
there and not fight?
Yeah. And then he answers that, right? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Right? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Pritha, like that. Okay. Yeah, what else?
That he's a son of Pratha, his Krishna's aunt. So he didn't expect it because of that reason.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And also, I really like that Krishna, before telling him why he should not do it, he did, like, he followed what Arjuna asked him to do, brought him in the center, and then he said, see. And now, in the subsequent phrases, we know, right, that when Krishna said, see what you want to see, and because of that, Arjuna becomes overwhelmed. So, the action of Arjuna led him to more despair, right?
Yes, more complications, right? Yeah. And I was asking the question that what do you behold when you there's a hold there, right? Hold and behold, right? And so as kids, sometimes, did your moms ever stare at you, or did you ever find your mom staring at you
We
yeah.
stopped what
when you
we
had your
were
hand in the
doing.
cookie, when you had your hand in the cookie jar, and suddenly out of nowhere the mom appears, right? And so sometimes so like, and so with her glare she froze me with her glare. So there's a lot of things that you can do with your eyes, right? I can hold people, right? So what does the mom do? She's just staring, and the child is, like that. So
Scared.
there's a lot of power which is there in the eyes. Yeah. So good points. So let's go and look at the words more in like kind of like going through it in detail. So it says Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarvesham Cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Paschetan Samavetan Kuruniti. So Bhishma Drona Pramukataha. So Pramukha, what does Pramukh mean?
In front of.
Me.
Next.
Okay. And then also
Here it says chieftain of the world.
chieftain. Yeah, so they are chief. Yeah, they're main.
Chieftains
So
of
But
the
he
world.
says chieftain of the world, right? So they are like the chieftain of the entire world of.
no. He's saying other chieftains of the world.
Oh, okay.
Right? Other chieftains. So what he's saying in the first is in the presence of Bhishma and Drona, right?
Hmm.
So there is
And
Bhishma,
yeah.
there is Drona, so they are Pramukh, right? So why are Bhishma and Drona Pramukh? Why do you think they're Pramukh? Pramukh is
Because
also, yeah.
they are elderly, right?
Mm.
Than anyone else.
Pramukh is elderly,
More experienced.
more experience, and what else?
And in front line, right?
Important, very important.
They are in the front line, okay, and what else?
Pramukh means very important, prominent.
Very important, right? So why are they very important? Why are Drona and Bhishma important?
Bhishma Pitamaha was
Because
prominent because he is the eldest of the dynasty, and
He could never be killed without his own will.
Drona because he is a teacher.
He's a teacher, right? So they are prominent for him, Pramukh. They are in front of him, and they are the main, the first for him because of these two reasons. They are Pramukh because of their military skills, right? So one thing is that they are Pramukh. A person can be Pramukh because of their certain characteristics that they have, right? So why? Because we know about Bhim, we know about Drona, like that, right?
Yeah.
But then we also have to notice that they also Pramukh in Arjuna's eyes. Because one of them, like you said, is the grandpa, and the other one is his teacher. And Arjun was his favorite student of Dronacharya. Dronacharya had given him blessings and things like that, right? And so here is a person. Here are these two, and he's his teacher all around. Of course, he has taught him the military skills. So here you see your teacher who has taught you military skills, and you are the favorite student of the teacher. But what's going on inside your heart? What's going on inside Arjuna's heart?
He's like shattered that I have to fight with him.
I have to fight. He does
Yeah,
not want
fight
to
with
fight. So can you believe it? The teacher, your beloved teacher who has been teaching you how to fight, and at this big moment, you're like, your heart is not with you. You say, I don't want to fight.
Yeah. And in a way, Krishna is also telling me, see them, because unless we disable them or kill them, we are not going to progress in the war, right?
Yeah.
Because Bhim was not able to kill anyone until Bhishma Pitama were there on the ground. He started killing only after 9th day.
90. Yeah. Yeah.
So he's talking the strategy also, right? To Arjuna.
Yes, I mean, this like you see how from Bhagavad Gita one verse we can draw so many things. So it's like the most powerful zipped up manner in which these Vedic shlokas are presented. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing when you analyze. I mean, we come nowhere close to Krishna, isn't it? For us even to write one page of essay, which we have to do when we are studying, and maybe Manasi can tell us. She's in school these days, right? It's horror, right? To have to do homework and things like that. What do you say, Preeti Radhika?
Yeah, it is. It's very hard.
You have kids like
Mansi was saying something. I
One
couldn't
more
hear.
thing we observed, Mataji, now Arjuna, Krishna is saying in the presence of Bhishma and Drona, sequence Bhishma and Drona. And when you
The order is wrong.
Duryodhana did, he first said Drona and then Bhishma.
There you go. Yeah. Mansi, were you saying something also?
I was saying just to write one page, we'll have to check like 10 to 20 times, and not too perfect also.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you can just, or you can just say, surrender to the words and say, like, I'll never get it in completion. And I will just relish the fact that every time I go to the verse, I get something new out of it, right? And every time I talk to another person, I get another angle to the same verse, like that. And that is the joy of reading scriptures, right? There's the joy of Bhagavad Gita. And Sandipan Muni, who is Sandipan Muni?
Krishna's
Krishna, the Guru.
He's Krishna's teacher, right? And he has given him a blessing that your words will remain ever fresh.
Mataji, is it Sandipani or is
Sandipani.
Deepani.
okay?
Sandipani Muni. So anyway, yeah. So we can keep on looking at it. And then he also says that, and then there are other chieftains of the world, right? So there are other kings also, right? So there are other, which are less prominent than Bhishma and Drona. And so our dear Krishna when he was asked to draw the chariot, he could have put the chariot in any place, right? What it is do? He drives the chariot, and where does he stop it? Right in
Right
front of
in
Mhm.
front of the
Drona,
Guru.
yeah, Drona and the Bhishma, right? So he, so that Arjun, something will happen to Arjun, right? And then he says, Uvacha Partha Paschyatan, Pashya, Pashya. See, Samavetan Kuruniti, right? So now he's saying that you, Uvacha
See,
Partha Paschyatan. So you now you see that I just wanted to, I relish this power of Krishna. That when we were looking at Dhritarashtra Uvacha, right? What did the Rashtra say in the beginning?
That
Dhritarashtra Uvacha,
What did my
Dharmashestre
son?
Kurukshetre. Right? Samveta Yuyutsava, Mamaka Pandavas Cheva, Kemakurvat Sanjaya. The whole 4 lines he says, right? And then Sanjay will talk and this and that, right? So there are people who are talking. And but here, the verse doesn't start with Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. It doesn't start with that, right? How much in the verse is Krishna's contribution by way of words, by way of saying something?
Just behold Partha.
Just behold Partha, right? That just part, that small little part of that verse. But you see how powerful these words were because they triggered off, right? He just said that you see. And that's why I was telling yesterday that, and we did that exercise yesterday to see how much of seeing is going on, right? Drishtva tu panduvanikam, you know, niriksheham, I want to see, aveksheham, paschyatam panduputrana. So there's always this seeing and seeing and seeing, right? And then of course, there are more shlokas coming up after this where there'll be more seeing, right? So the seeing, there's one seeing that you do with your senses,
Right.
which is your eyes, right? So that's one seeing that you do. Now, the interesting thing is that with Krishna, it is very prominent. And angani yasya sakalendriya pritimanti pashyanti panti kalyanti. So does the verse from Brahma Samhita that we sing every morning when we have darshanartik is actually talking about the senses of Krishna. And they say that one sense of Krishna can perform the job of other senses of Krishna, right? For example, he impregnates the Prakriti by just looking at her. So his eyes are very powerful, right? And we are parts and parcel of Krishna. So we will have a little bit of that in us also. We might not be able to do as much as Krishna does, but people do get yogic powers and they are able to do some of the things. But in general also, we are still able to, one sense is sometimes able to perform a little bit of the job of the other sense. For example, if you close your eyes and if you open your eyes and I show you a ball, right? And I ask you what is the shape, so you will tell me the shape, right? It's circular or it's a sphere like that, right? Now if I tell you close your eyes and I again show you the ball and I tell you what you see, you'll say nothing. And then I put the ball in your hand and I tell you, can you tell me the shape? Will you be able to tell me the shape?
yeah,
yes.
Yes,
It
right.
is touch.
So your
Yeah.
hands, yes, your hands can also sometimes do the job of seeing like that, right? So a little bit of that thing is also here. So there is the physical seeing, right? So there's a physical seeing over here. And then there is also sometimes you use the word see when you understand something, like you intellectually
mind.
comprehend something, right? So comprehension is there, then you also see. For example, when the teacher is explaining something, or I like you were saying, like, or you ask me a question, like, why did that happen? Why did you do this? Or something like that. And then I start explaining the behavior, or you're asking, how do I thread a needle? And I explain, okay, step number 1, step number 2, step number 3. And when you have understood everything, then in the end you say, I see. Right? So what did you see? right? So sometimes with your intellectual understanding also we use the word I see. And so just wanted to emphasize on the seeing part of it. And so one of the things here is that there is some, Arjuna is doing some repeated physical seeing is happening. And I also wanted to mention that when you see something, so eyes are the cause, right? And what they affect could be something else, right? For example, step away a little bit from the eyes and let's go a little bit more physical and use the karmendriya, right? So a parent, raises the hand and slaps a naughty child, gives him a little whack on the back. So who is the cause of the slap?
The child's activity?
Mind.
Gross. Come back to the gross world. You see a parent slapping.
And
The parent, yeah, the parent is the cause of the slap, right? But who is affected by that?
The child.
Child.
the child.
Right? So you see the cause is something and the effect is something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I mean, some of you did go deeper into the original cause and the efficient cause and things like that. And that all is there. And all that will come later on in Bhagavad Gita, yes. But right now, if you just look at it, right? If you just look at it, you will see that the parent is slapping. So parent is the cause and the child is reaping the effect, right? There's a very famous, when I was growing up, in the teenagers, especially, you like to do these couplets, I mean, Urdu is a very good language, and I grew up in a city where it was very prominent. And there's very nice way of speaking and doing poetry, which is called shairi. Not everybody can do that, so there are also a much watered down versions of that, and sometimes people use that. And so we used to use a lot of that as kids, and teenagers will do that. So so the couplet that went is like this. It says, "Tapan surat se hoti hai, तपना जमी को पड़ता है, मोहब्बत आंखें करती हैं, तड़पना दिल को पड़ता है." So what it means is that the sun that is, letting out so much of heat, but the effect of that heat comes to the earth, and everybody on earth has to bear the heat. And then similarly, your eyes are the ones that will behold a form. We behold a form and we fall in love with that form. And then after that, you have a lover's tiff, or you don't get the object of your desire, and so on and so forth, then it is your heart that aches like that, right? So, tears are there. Yes, eyes do get affected by that if you have a tiff, but heartache is the primary thing that is happening here. So, looking at forms in this material world, the material forms is actually an illusion. You might see a beautiful woman, but reality is that she is a bag of blood, pus, mucus, and stool, right? And so when I came here to USA, I was really impressed by the way everything was packaged. Even something abominable like meat, it is packaged so beautifully in this country, right? And it's not like that in India. You go and buy, anything, they might just give it to you in a bag or like that. But here everything comes in a very nice package. And of course, as I spent more and more time in this country, I started getting disgusted with the packaging because it's such a waste of stuff. So anyway, so I was just thinking that this country is very good, and this is the only country that I've seen other than India. So so maybe others might also be doing that. But anyway, the point is that we are good at packaging things. And I want you to see how well Brahma has packaged, right? I mean, he's taken the most abominable thing and put a skin around it, beautiful skin around it. And it looks so beautiful. And then we fall in love with that form. And then there is heartache, right? So the point that I want you to keep in mind is that eyes are the way to illusion. So be very careful of this sense. This is the sense which will lead you astray. And you see what Krishna is doing? Krishna is saying, Uvacha partha paschetan samvetan kuruniti. Krishna knows that. And he is telling Arjuna, see, because he knows. All that Arjuna is doing right now is that he's only doing the physical seeing with his eyes. The intellectual comprehension has not yet happened in this verse. Like that, right? So, from the perspective, from the looking at it from the material perspective, if you overemphasize on seeing, then it will lead to disaster. It led to disaster. All that he was doing, and we'll see that in the next word, all that Arjuna is doing is looking, 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 right? Drishtva, Duryodhana also looking, 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 right? So from this type of perception, only bewilderment is going to happen to us. Only bewilderment. So there has to be some way of getting out of it. And it is so interesting that how do we get out of this? And Krishna has just given us these instruments to get out of this material world. But he has given me eyes with which I see this material world. And I get even more and more entangled. I see my mom, I see my dad, I see my daughter, I see my granddaughter, I see my friend, I see my enemy, all leading to bewilderment like that. So Krishna must have given me some solution, right? So your ears are the organs that lead you out of illusion. So eyes, I will lead you to illusion, and your ears will get out of it. Your eyes can tire, right? Your eyes can tire out, from looking. You might want to close them. But the ears, they can take infinite amount of time. If there's nothing like my ears are full, right? So, and you will see later on, Krishna will say, touch shrunu. He will use that word, touch shrunu. I used to use that a lot with Vidyavadu, touch shrunu, touch shrunu. When I learned that, if I had to say, listen to me, I would say, touch shrunu, touch shrunu. So, so it's very, very important to hear. Hearing is very important, and it'll happen, right? It'll happen in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? Up until that, Arjuna is not, he's just saying, he'll say, continue to say, in first chapter is all about bewilderment of Arjuna. So he will say, Kinno bhogena rajena, okay, let me not fight. What is there? Let me give up something over here. Better things will still await me if I die, whether we win or whether we don't win, in any case, all that, things that he's just saying, because he's relying too much on that one sense, right? So back again to that tapan surat se hoti hai, tapna zami ko padta hai, right? So because of the heat, that you get from the sun, we want relief, right? We want relief. And then how do we get the relief? And it was such an interesting thing that today in the morning, my sister reminded me of a verse, and both my sisters actually were talking about that. And it was, the song goes like that, सूरज की गर्मी से तपते हुए तन को मिल जाए तरवर की छाया, ऐसा ही सुख मेरे तन को मन को मिला है, मैं जब से चरण तेरी आया मेरे राम, like that. So this is exactly what is happening to us. We are here in this material world. We are looking at all these things, looking at our possessions, looking at other people's possessions, mamaka, pandavas jaiva, mine, my sons, my this, my that, I see. And so it is like, this material world is burning me. And how will you get relief from that burning? When jab se sharan teri aaya, when you take shelter of the Lord, that's when you'll get out of it. And Arjuna does that pretty soon. He will do that 30 or 35 verses later. He will do that. Shishyaste ham shadi mam tam prapanna. He will do that thing, right? So it is very, very important for us to be wary that we have got these senses, and these senses can lead us astray. And we have talked about in Ishopanishad that these senses are defective, right?
Yeah.
What are the defects that they have? The four types of defects that our senses have.
We're under illusion,
You're right.
tendency to cheat, we have
Friendship.
tendency to make mistakes, and imperfect senses.
They are imperfect,
Mm.
right? They're imperfect. So what we really need is to have spiritual wisdom. And if at all that you have to see, then see through the eyes of someone who has seen the right thing. Remember yesterday I was talking about when your intelligence doesn't work, use somebody else's intelligence. So that's one, then again, when your eyes are not working properly, or you have realized that my eyes don't work properly, then we should see through the eyes of somebody else. Tadvadi paripatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshyanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshinaha. So what does it mean? Is that jnanina tattvadarshinaha, that those who have seen the truth, you go and serve them and ask them with humility, and then they will tell you, because your seva is going to touch their hearts, and then they'll be willing to open their hearts and tell you everything that they know, right? So for example, in the story of Chitraketu was a king with millions of wives, but didn't have any children, wanted to have a child, begs Angira Rishi to get him one. And Angira Rishi says, hey, but I can do that, but your son will give you both joy and sorrow. He says, I'll take it. He has a son, the son dies, the king is devastated. And then this time Angira Rishi comes with Narad Muni. And Narad Muni is Narad Muni. He has seen the truth, he has seen God. And so what does he do? He brings the child's soul back, right? And through that, Narada gives him the truth, that what you are seeing as your son is actually not your son. He has been a son to so many people, so it's very difficult to figure out all that out.
Harsha Shok.
Harsha and Shuka, right? He said, yeah. Right? So when Arjuna is listening, right? When Arjuna starts to listen to Krishna, then he is able to see the spiritual truths. Then when he looks at Bhishma and Drona, he doesn't see them as my teachers and just as my teachers and my grandfather. He then sees and understands intellectually that they are souls, and then they will never die. So more important than this kind of a physical seeing is to do what is called as wisdom seeing, or spiritually seeing certain things. And this spiritual wisdom that only Jnanina Tattvadarshina can impart to you, this spiritual wisdom is like an X-ray, right? Because otherwise, Brahma had packaged very nicely. Here's your loving grandfather, and here's your respectable teacher. These are the two packages I'm giving you. But Krishna opens Arjuna's eyes and takes him deep inside, just as an X-ray takes you deep inside a body, and through an X-ray you're able to see the bones inside it. Krishna is the superior, best X-ray machine, and he's taking Arjuna inside to see the soul. That see there is a soul in all of them, right? Like that. And so and we need something. We need people to see, to help us see things. Of course, we need, even in the material plane, we need people to help us see. For example, when you sit in an aeroplane, what does the pilot see in the sky? The plane is flying at 30,000 feet, or 38,000 feet, 40,000 feet. What does he see? It's darkness there, right? So they are flying in the dark, but they are in communication with the control towers. So the sooner that we accept the fact that we are blind, blind like the pilot, although we see, paschyan api na paschyati, paschyan api na paschyati, and we sometimes refuse to see. We sometimes refuse to see what we should be seeing. And in that context, we are like the ostrich. What happens to the ostrich? When the ostrich sees that somebody's coming to eat it, what does it do?
Buries his head in the sand.
It buries its head in the sand, right? And so it thinks that what I know, what I can see just is in there. That's not the truth, right? So let's not bury, let's face the facts, right? And in order to make Arjun face the facts, Krishna has drawn the chariot between the two armies, and he's saying, Paschyetan, Kurunati. Okay, now you see, and then I will give you the right wisdom. You too, go see, right? So um, instead of trying to figure things out by our own system, right? So when you have to go from here to there, but these days in our car, what do we have in our cars?
GPS.
GPS, right? And GPS is our global positioning system, right? Which is just telling you how to be situated from on one point of this material world, and will take you to another point of this material world. But what you need is really a different positioning system, and which is again a GPS, but it is Govinda's positioning system. So you have to take the help of Krishna. And you know what? He'll take you to Golok, Vrindavan, like that. Okay. So that's what is there in Krishna's mind when he says a quarter of a verse, but it is so powerful over there, like that. Okay. So I'll stop here and open up for reflections and comments, etc.
Hare Krishna, Ma.
Yeah.
So yesterday's class from Vaisheshika Prabhu, just before the class ended, and throughout the class I was listening, and before he ended, he just gave this pearl of wisdom, and I went, aha, and pretty much connected to seeing. So he said that with discrimination, we should see or determine what is beneficial thought for us and what is not, and come to the process the thought and come to whether it's going to help us or it's going to destroy us, rather than repressing the thought. And it was like a aha moment that, you know what, thoughts come like waves of ocean, they're non-stop, and some of them are detrimental. So then I was like, I told myself that with practice, because he emphasized that they will come, but with practice we have to um, do this processing and only replace them with the better thought, you
There
know.
you go. Exactly. Exactly. And I was also, admiring that, because on our Saturday class, Saturday Bhakti Viks class, we were just talking exactly about that, right? How do we handle
Yes.
negative thoughts? How do we handle envy? And he said that so beautifully that, and I was just noticing that when he said that, I was like, oh, I didn't tell that, but you know, uh, and he told it that you have to analyze and process the thoughts. Like,
Yeah.
he used such a nice word, process. I had said things like, I was telling you about processing, but not exactly using those precise words. I was saying that you think that, is it really worth it? What's going to happen if I pursue that route? Do I want to throw up my devotional service? But yeah, towards the end, and that's again, when you look at these exalted souls, they will say one sentence or two sentences, and then
And
you
mean
can
a lot.
extract so much out of it. Yeah, exactly. So what do you say, Chaitanya Priya Mataji? What do you think?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, I just spotted her. Okay,
I
yeah.
was in, yeah, so I was saying I totally agree with that because thoughts is the thing, like root cause of everything. I mean, there are times when there's nothing actually happening, but because you're thinking, so for you, things are like negative. It's your mind that plays the dirty game. I mean, usually maybe the other person doesn't have any wishes, thing for you, but because you are perceiving it the way your mind is telling you, so that these thoughts become a big circle and becomes like forms a loop. So you need to tell and you need to control your mind the way you control probably your pet or puppy when you take it for their food.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for summarizing that. And yeah, And Krishna will constantly say that in the Bhagavad Gita also. Abhyasa yogena, abhyasa yoga, abhyasa yoga, abhyas, 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 practice, practice, practice. Even in our material world, we can't achieve anything unless we practice, right? As a small child who goes goes to school, what is the child doing? Practicing, right? The teacher will say, okay, one, okay, now you write 150 times, right? Like that.
And Maharaj, the other day on Bhakti Ramesh class, started with GPS, reading Bhagavad Gita.
There you go.
Mataji, can you kindly give one example on processing the thought?
On processing the thought? Okay,
Yeah.
give me a thought. Let's process it. Give me some thought. Like, for example, a thought came that, hey, okay, good. A thought comes to my mind that let me come up with a thought which will allow us to analyze it in a much better manner. Okay. That person is behaving badly with me. I smiled and she or he did not smile back. And who does she or he think? Who do they think they are? I'll also not smile back. That's a thought. Now let's process that thought. How can you process it?
I would feel neglected.
I will.
Okay, so one processing is that they are doing like this, and so there's a feeling of neglect. Okay. Okay.
But I would like to smile back so that let the other person realize that his way of thinking about me hasn't affected me, and he may realize that she or he is right, and she is still smiling, though I am not doing good to her, not smiling, and still she is smiling. So let me think about. I mean, put a thought in his mind that she still is forgiving him or her.
Okay, good.
Friends are in.
Sutapa, please.
That we have learned that friends and enemies are same. So if she is not or he's not enemy, but still we have to think, okay, forget about it, forgive and ignore. I can smile him or her back.
Good, good. So we have got that I can feel neglected and insulted. So that was one thing. Another option was that I can smile back and send the message that this person is smiling and has forgiven you. And then you said that I will just ignore the thought and forget about it, and be forgiving and move on. Right.
Another, very often because of the involuntary system we have developed to think that way. Oh, वो तो मेरा अभी दुश्मन हो गया ऐसे कुछ.
Okay, so that person has now become my enemy, and so you're feeling bad, right? Okay, so if you realize that somebody has become an enemy, then what happens? What are the other thoughts that will come to your mind?
I would think, what did I do? I would start analyzing. What did I say that makes this person, react like this?
And I would start staying away from that person.
You'll start to say that.
I'll actually
stay away from that person. Sorry.
I'm not able to hear you. Yeah, one more time, please.
Yeah, I would start staying away from that person.
Stay away. Okay.
Actually, I'll go and talk to that person and clarify the stuff that that person holds on to him or her about me, because it's not that that person is good or bad. It's just that something that I must have done and he perceived it in a different way. So it's always good to clarify and talk about it rather than forming that distancing or social distancing yourself with them and let them become even worse thing.
Yeah. So you notice that while we were analyzing the thought, did you notice that Hey, Priya Gopika is also there. Hare Krishna, Priya Gopika. Good to have you. So, um, so did you also notice that we are, while we are analyzing the thoughts, we are actually how quickly we go into the action part of it, that how we are saying that you'll go and talk to that person, right? But right now we are just analyzing the thought, but this is how it is: thinking, feeling, believing, and acting. It happens like that.
Yeah,
And
Mataji, I would like to say something.
yeah, please go ahead.
I
Yeah, this is what.
usually, when such thing happens, it depends on which kind of mood I am. If I feel rushed, then it goes directly to the action. But if I'm not rushed and I can see, like I can hold myself at that time, which happens with spirituality and practice. I usually think that, as Chaitanya Mataji said, that there must be some reason behind why this person is acting, and I see that if my old self was reactive in this case, at least I should not give them, like, that is what we do in the conditioning system, right? So can I change interaction a little bit? So I usually pray and then talk to that person if I have to talk, or smile.
Very good. Very good. Yes. So you see, Varshana Mataji,
Yeah,
with this
Mataji, I
exercise, with
heard
this,
everybody's way of processing,
yeah,
but I was just thinking while listening to everyone that it depends on person to person, Mataji, with whom we have to process whether to give back or go and talk or uh, stay calm. Most of the time, I personally feel staying calm helps a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a very nice point that you bring up, is that the analysis can go on independent of the action. You see, the analysis you can always do on who is right, and then also depends on your position. And there's no need for you to tolerate a small kid. It depends on your position. If you're a teacher, you have to point out the mistakes, right? Like sometimes if you mispronounce a word, I stop you and I make you go back and read it. It's not that I'm being nasty to you, it's because of my role over here, right? I will say it. I might not say, I might not point out mistakes like that in somebody else, because of my position could be different in some other place. But what just came across over here is that if I really like the point that was brought up, and that was that I might have done something. So you see, I might have done something. So the mood actually changed from being the victim, that I felt insulted and I should keep away from this person, to it moves to that I might have done something, and now that other person has become the victim of our actions. And so if that is the mood in which we try to address these kind of things, then the other bad feelings that you get will go away, right? The feeling of neglect will go away when you're thinking, I must have done something to this person. So now you are in a much better position. Now you're ready to go and analyze the situation, and it's not necessarily that you must have done something.
Right.
That person has done that thing, right? But it's a good platform to be on, right? And like you said, Kathy Mataji pointed out a very nice thing. She said it depends on the mood that you are in on that day. If you are rushed, right? So that is what that Krishna is going to come and tell us that in chapter 14, when he talks about the modes of the material nature.
Nature.
He always acting on you if you're in the mode of goodness. And that's why they're saying that you need to rise to the mode of goodness. Satyam yad brahma darshanam partivad daruno dhumas tasmat agnis traimaya tamastastu rajas tasmat satvam yad brahma darshanam. So it's giving an example. He's saying that wood is better than earth, because wood can be used to light a fire. But better than better than earth is wood, and better than wood is fire, because fire you can use for performing Vedic sacrifices, which will raise you to the platform of goodness. Because satvam yad brahma darshanam, to be able to see Brahma, which is the spiritual aspects of things, you have to raise yourself to the mode of goodness. So, and then Krishna will talk about later on, about foods in the mode of goodness, charity in the mode of goodness, action in the mode of goodness, so that you're aware. And the idea is that I have to raise myself to the mode of goodness, so that I can perform my spiritual activities. And you notice that if you are in the mode of goodness, you are never rushed. Most of us are in the mode of passion, rushing
Yes.
from here, rushing to there, rushing from here. And when you are rushed, and if somebody ignores you, then you will react in the mode of passion. Before you even know, the slap will come out, like that. But if you are in the mode of goodness, then that's when you sit back and you say, like, let me see, maybe I have done something, and let us just analyze. And always, give the others the benefit of doubt. Give others the benefit of doubt, that why are they acting like that? And it'll only make our life peaceful,
Yeah.
because they might not even know
But
what's going on.
experience, but experience of life, now I'm going to be 70, Mataji. My experience of life tells me that staying calm is the best solution to the problems.
There you go. You're hearing from a soon to be 70 Jnanina Tattvadarshina. She has seen the truth of life. She might have reacted different ways to different situations in her life, realized the folly of doing that in those situations.
Reactance.
Yeah. And that is why, in the olden days, there used to be a joint family, and things were, Guru Vriddha Pitamaha, So look at Bhishma. He's so respected and so loved by the juniors in the family. But nowadays it doesn't happen. Nobody wants to live with their elder people. Why? Why do they not like to live? Because we don't want to be told the truth.
Yes.
We want to remain with
Yes.
our eyes closed. We want to enjoy the material world. We want our freedom to be able to, the wife and husband want to be able to do everything and anything in every room in the house. So they don't want anybody living in that house who's going to tell you, hey, look here, why are you sleeping that late? Get up, it's time to, do Mangalarti. The elders will tell you that, so that we don't want them. And nowadays with the technology and all that, so people come up with nice things. I mean, some super brain came up with Facebook and all that kind of stuff. But then if you don't use it in a guided manner, look at all the damage that it does. I shouldn't be saying that. I'm using Facebook right now, but it's a fact, right? It's a fact. So what I'm just saying is that you have come up, it's a brain. After all, Krishna empowered you to come up with something wonderful like Facebook, which allows you to collaboration and, allows people to come together and see faces. But why don't you use it in a proper manner? Right? Like that. So somebody has to give you that knowledge. And that knowledge can only come from somebody who has been through it and seen that and then been there, done that, did not like it. That person can tell you how bad it is,
Yes.
Like that. So it is important, yeah.
Like you say, young age, you are aggressive. In young age, I mean, that mature.
Yeah.
There
and
was
aggression. Yeah. And the hormones are running
aggression, but slowly, slowly realized that calmness is the answer to the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Or provocations. To the provocation.
Provocation.
Yeah. I'd also like to welcome Rinku Mataji, Hare Krishna, and Achyuta Radhe Mataji. Thank you for being on the call. Yeah, so Varshana Mataji, you actually answered your own question.
Yes, Mataji, because of processing, everybody was doing it. So my mind also started working.
Yeah.
And it helped to
Yes.
process.
Yes.
Yes, Mataji. And Saturday, the Bhakti Viksha class, you already mentioned that silence will be the best option. So.
Oh, really?
What I'm also trying to tell you is that silence is not just the silence of the tongue, which is always good because you use that to interact with others. But there is also a chatter that goes on inside our head.
Yeah.
And
yes,
that's the one that has to be silenced. Yeah, that is the one that has to be silenced. And there was I don't know how many of you were born at that time, but I'm pretty sure Vidyavadhu would know, and maybe Varshana Mataji would. Again, Vidyavadhu might not because she doesn't watch much of television. There was a television serial that came, and it had to do with, they would show situations where people were communicating, and so person A would say something to person B, and then from the background another, so that person A's voice will come saying something else. Like, for example, person knocks at the door, and the other person opens the door and he's like, oh, Sharma ji, aye, aye, like, Mr. Sharma, please come in. Very nicely smiling and coming in. And then the voice will come like, he has come again. Now he's going to waste 2 hours of my time. So there's also that conversation that happens. So they came up with hilarious situations there like that. And, but that's the chatter that has to be stopped. And chanting will help you stop that chatter.
I guess this is why, Mataji, I just, after you said that, I recall that Guru Maharaj always says, when your mind wanders off, if you're constantly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, no matter what, with body, you're doing actions, that's not going to stop. But your mind needs to just keep chanting Hare Krishna, and then that will just solve all the problems.
Yes, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. Right? We did that. That you think about me in your back channel, and holy name will have its effect on you on this beautiful day.
Very good.
All right.
In the psychology, Mataji, they say that our feelings lead to our thoughts, and our thoughts turn into words, and then ultimately our actions. So I think it's important to be self-aware, and that's exactly what emotional intelligence teaches us. I think right so much gung-ho about in the corporate world, about increasing your emotional intelligent quotient. So that, yeah. So first I'm self-aware, because if I am aware of my feelings, of my thoughts, what's really cooking inside, then I can address them before they start impacting others in the negative way. So that way I'm making a difference, a positive difference to the world, because then everyone around me is experiencing the positive me. Yeah, because I can't control the other person's reactions or how they behave with me, but definitely I can. That's in my control. The way I behave with others. Yeah, what I say to others. Yeah.
Exactly.
A state of mind plays a very
important now.
Yeah, very rightly put, and thank you for reminding all of us about that. Yeah. And so like you mentioned that we have to be aware. And so Arjuna in chapter 1 is aware at a different level. He's aware. His awareness is got to do with his eyes, more like, I'm aware that Bhishma is there. I'm aware of what's going to happen if we have read the chapter 1 so many times, right? So he's telling about his awareness. He's telling about his intelligence, whatever intelligence he has. From there, he's saying that, if the elders in the family fall down because you don't offer the rituals of Shraddha and things like that, and what happens to the women, and, Padushyanti, Sriya, then all the welfare projects will stop and all that kind of stuff. He's talking at that level, right? And so his awareness is there. But in the beginning of second chapter, his awareness kind of changes. And our Hrishikesh is responsible for that. And he says, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. Karpanya dosho. He just then analyzes and he says, it is because of my miserly thoughts that I'm headed in this direction. And immediately in that same verse, he surrenders to Krishna. So yes, very, very important to be self-aware in the right way. Yeah, good. Very good. Sehr gut, as they say in Germany. Yeah, I think Atri Rishi was from Germany. These sages, Atri or Angira, one of them, Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that. I don't remember which one. I should look it up, but yeah, that's what it was. So should we take leave? It's 7:45, my dear friends.
Don't want to, but we have.
Yes.
Do our duty dutifully.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to have that little, little feeling of not being full, because if you get full, then there's no need for coming back again tomorrow. You're full, right? So it's better to have just that little thing there, which will make you come back. Like how we did about seeing yesterday, and you thought, like, what is it about seeing? I did it in the class on Monday, like that. So good. Okay. So with this,
I really liked Mataji GPS to Govinda. positioning system.
Govinda's
System.
positioning
Yes.
system. All right, so throw away your GPSs and get Govinda's positioning. Govinda's positioning system.
System.
Here we go. All right. Okay. Vanchikalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavedyo
Namo
namo
Namaha.
Gopremanande Hari Hari Bol. Okay,
Hari
the
Hari Bol.
impossible task of the day is to switch off this. Hari